Are you a gentleman looking for a gentleman's weapon to do a gentleman's thing in a not-so-gentle world? Well, good sir, you've come to the right place. Yes. Well, for all of you good gentlemen out there, Rapier, and this is going to be my guide to the Rapier. Now, the Rapier has two sides to it. It has the elegant, graceful side, which I would highly recommend, and then it has the edgy boy blood side, which I wouldn't recommend so much, but I'll explain what the two do. Blood allows you to stack bleed stacks on your opponent to do extra damage over time. It is dot-based damage, and you have abilities that can allow you to proc all your bleed dots at once to do some extra damage. Grace, however, gives you infinite iframes. Infinite iframes is what you want in a game where iframes exist, because you can't take damage whilst damaging your opponent, meaning you win. Pretty good. So let's start looking at some of these edgy boy abilities first. First of all, you've got Tondo, slash so quickly that it extends the reach of your blade up 5 meters. Nothing personnel, kid. This strike deals 50% direct weapon damage, but also applies a bleed that will deal 85% weapon damage over 12 seconds. This can stack up to 3 times, refreshing previous applications. So you can just keep those bleedy boys going. Yes, someone knows about that when they just won't stop bleeding. And the next one is Thirst for Blood. When applying the first bleed stack to an opponent, this cooldown is reduced by 10%, so you get the next one up just a little bit quicker. If you only hit one target, even on a blocked hit, this cooldown is reduced by 25%. And again! The last one is Proper Spacing. Improve your direct damage on Tondo by 100% if you are 4 meters away from your target or more. This requires too much skill and precision. That's not why you picked Rapier. Rapier has the lowest skill floor in the game, meaning you can just pick it up and be fantastic just by spamming this ability, which we'll talk in a little bit. But we'll move on to Flurry next. Flurry used to have a bugged way of using it, where basically you enter a pose stance, because, well, blood is the poser side, where you unleash a series of 5 quick thrusts, and each does strike damage. Flurry can be dodge cancelled at any time. Each hit of Flurry does 25% more block damage. Each hit of Flurry reduces the cooldown of this ability by 7%. Keep that in the back of your head for when I talk about the next thing. To the bone, each hit of Flurry extends the Rapier's bleed by 1 second, so you can also increase your bleeds. And the last hit of Flurry will cause the enemy to stagger, which is actually pretty nice because they remove stagger. But the reason this is so good is Flurry used to interact with Chain. Chain used to be something that would cause extra damage procs on any attack or ability, and then would ping off people around them. Basically, if you caught 2 people in Flurry, you would have infinite uses of Flurry, so you could just constantly spam it. To fix this, they changed it so that Chain only procs on light and heavies. Now that we got the trash side out of the way, let's talk about the good side of skill tree. First one is the most overpowered ability in the game, Riposte. At Riposte, you enter into a defensive stance for 1 second. If struck during this ability, counter the attacker, stunning them briefly for 1.5 seconds. You are briefly invulnerable upon a successful riposte, meaning other people can't hit you. This is a 0 frame startup auto counter I win button. GG. To upgrade this, you go into Insult to Injury. When Riposte is triggered successfully, all your attacks become uninterruptible for 3 seconds, which means after a Riposte, you are invulnerable, and you can happily go for a heavy attack on the poor fella that just got riposte, and his attacking friends can't do nothing about it. Priority, reduce the cooldown of other Rapier abilities by 20% when you land the riposte stun. This works on everything, by the way. Ranged attacks, abilities, spells, fireballs, AoEs. You can riposte anything, just no. The last one is increase the stun to riposte to 2 seconds. So basically, yeah, they're slept for 2 seconds, and you can do a fully charged heavy. What is it? Next up is Evade. When you perform a small, reliable sidestep in your current movement direction that cancels any current activity, meaning you can use Evade at any time, doing anything, during any mistake, and you're just fine. Fine. Stops everything. You just, no, can't touch this. Yeah, upgraded. You gain 20 stamina immediately on use. It means if you've used all your dodges and run out of stamina, and your enemy's like, yes, I can finally punish him, just like, no, evade. No. No punish. No. No. The next one is, I'm not even going to say that. Gain 20% movement for 3 seconds on use, so you evade, and now you're a quick boy. Then, again, not going to say that. Evading forward gains 15% increased damage on your next attack. So you just hold W, evade forward, and yeah, 15% damage buff. So you iframe and get damage. It's like rolling and then you get more damage. It's fantastic. Individual successful light attacks reduce the cooldown of this ability by 30% each. You hit someone 4 times, you can evade again. Evade, spam light, evade, spam light, evade, spam light. Oh, and that works out fantastic with this ability. Just gain 25% increased damage on your next light or heavy attack after performing ability. Evade, damage buff. Evade, damage buff. Evade, damage buff. Yeah, this is pretty good. Last one is Flurry. It's probably the least impressive of them, but still better than every other option, which is basically you do a spinning edgy boy lunge attack that will pierce enemies and it will do 145% weapon damage. If you kill some of it, it reduces cooldown by 80%. After performing Flurry, your next critical strike attack from the next 5 seconds will also be 15% more powerful. And by pressing light attack at any time during the Flurry, you will stop and perform a static combination attack dealing 115% weapon damage. So you can essentially do the ability, cancel our ability, and then just start poking people. Normally you'd think, oh, I'll just use evade every time they use an ability. But yeah, you'll quickly find you just always use evade. You just like evade, damage, evade, damage, evade, damage. Oh no, I've made a mistake. Riposte, evade, damage, Flurry. It's fantastic. Like, this is the way you play it. And yeah, you've just unlocked easy mode for New World, and it'll be like that until probably week 2 or 3, until people actually learn how to counter the Rapier. But until then, this bad boy's going to carry you through everything, and you're just going to be like, yeah, easy scrub, get good. And it's just going to be because you have unlimited iframes and unlimited counters. The gentleman's weapon for sure. Any other tips I can give to you is I'm going to go through the build that I would make for this, which is essentially everything in Grace besides 2 passives which you're going to take over in Blood. First one I say that you don't take is Red Curtains. Critical strikes reduce all cooldowns by 5%. The reason I recommend against this, even though you are, if you're going to Dexter, you're going to critical a lot, is because Refreshing Strikes reduce all cooldowns by 1%. So you just hit 5 times and you get all the cooldowns that you would have done from getting that 1 critical. So it's going to be proccing all the time rather than some of the time. The other one is Perfectionist. Deal 10% more damage when your health is at full. Meh, it's pretty good, but you're never really going to be at full health all the time. This one is deal 10% more damage when your target has more than 50% health. So as long as they're above half health, you do 10% more damage. Fantastic. Simple build, easy to do, easy to play. I recommend pairing this with an Ice Gauntlet, Fire Staff, Bow, Musket, and because it also split scales with Int, you can actually, like I said, level a magic weapon with this, or even another Dex weapon. But even then, you could just put a Conversion Gem, and you can have 2 of anything. Like, you could be like, yeah, Sword, Rapier, I'm going to put an Int Gem in both of them. Now all I have to do is level Int. Wouldn't recommend that combo, but it's an option. So basically, Rapier's great. It is Baby's training worlds. Like, you can ignore most PvP mechanics because you don't need to know what their abilities do because you just auto counter them all. So yeah, try this out, and then when you're feeling brave, you can move on to something else. But yeah, it's not bad. You can even just use hatchets. Hatchet scales with Dex. So you can just do double Dex. And yeah, you've now got self-sustain. Because that is the one problem with the Rapier, is you don't have self-sustain. But with Berserk and Hatchet, you can get those self-heals. Pretty good. And because of the way that the dodges work, you can do it in medium or light, whichever have you. But yeah, Rapier. Happy hunting, gentlemen.